Sintai warkereti lang. Karibuni poke.
Sintai warkereti lang.
The Far East, the Middle East, the West, and even the African continent, all are welcome. Sintai warkereti lang.
Sintai warkereti lang.
Sintai warkereti lang.
And you're just in time for the latest here in the country and beyond. Our focus, our keen focus, is President William Ruto, who is currently in Doha, Qatar. We'll be updating you on that as well. We're keeping a close eye on the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education, day 2 of examinations, and other stories making headlines at this hour. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim. The sign language interpreter at the bottom end of the screen is Lucy Mora. And we start off in Doha, where President William Ruto has reiterated Africa's demand for 2 permanent and 2 non-permanent seats at the United Nations Security Council with full rights and privileges. Delivering a statement on behalf of the African Group of State at the ongoing Second World Summit for Social Development in Doha, Qatar on Tuesday, the president said that true social development cannot thrive without historical justice and equal representation within the UN. The 3-day summit will center on poverty reduction, decent work and social inclusion, bringing together world leaders to chart a renewed global social agenda. Elsewhere, embattled National Transport and Safety Authority Director General George Njau is facing backlash from road safety lobby groups after defying a directive by authorities board to proceed on terminal leave ahead of his retirement. The board, chaired by Honorable Khatib Mashetani, had on October 29th resolved that Njau hand over office to acting DG Jacob Sisay before his official exit on December 1st. However, Njau has reportedly refused to vacate office, drawing condemnation from lobby leaders who accuse him of plotting to extend his tenure illegally. Road Safety Association of Kenya Chair David Kiarie and Secretary General John Mutisia demanded Njau's immediate departure, blaming him for failing to curb rising road accidents. They urged the Roads and Transport Ministry to enforce the board's decision, warning of possible legal action if the stalemate persists.
Please, Mr. Njau, I'm asking you to obey your employer. The little threats you are doing to the other board members, that you have even, when quoting high names, the president's name, blackmailing, to blackmail the current leadership, quoting the CS name, quoting the PS name. Carry your own cross.
Naambia George Njau amekaa miaka 6, atakatalia kwa muda gani? Ili angefanya miaka 6, kama hajafanya awachie wengine. Na wakati huu tunamwambia sasa awache kufikiria mambo yake kibinafsi. Hebu wafikirie kuna watoto wanafunga shule. Hebu wafikirie kuna watu wataanza msimu wa sikukuu. Hebu wafikirie watoto wataanza kurudi shule. Hebu wafikirie ni wangapi ambao tunaweza poteza kwa sababu ya tamaa yake ya kukaa kwa ofisi.
Also, police in Makindu sub-county have launched a probe following the killing of a second-year nursing student from Goshen Medical College in Thika who was allegedly stabbed to death. According to preliminary police investigations, the students and 2 other classmates had gone out to celebrate the end of their attachment. A quarrel ensued after they returned to their rented houses, leading to a violent confrontation.
What began as a night of celebration would end tragically in Makindu Township of Makueni County after a second-year nursing student from Goshen Medical College in Thika was stabbed to death. The student and 2 of her classmates had reportedly gone out to celebrate the end of their attachment at a local sub-county hospital.
Nasikia vurugu hapa kwa nyumba yao. Kiasi kama dakika 35 naona msichana mmoja ametoka anavuja damu, ameshika mkono kwa shingo. Tukamuuliza, amesema amedungwa, akatuambia tuite usaidizi.
Meanwhile, the main suspect, who also suffered knife injuries, is receiving treatment at Makindu Sub-County Hospital and will be handed over to police once discharged.
The student Tatachi, who passed on, unfortunately had sustained a fatal stab wound at the neck region.
The third student, identified as Sharon Muteti, is being held for questioning with the police, also interviewing witnesses, including a boda rider and a neighbor who filmed the incident.
Niliamka asubuhi nikapata kuna chats kwa group ya class zinaendelea, so mimi sikujua ni yeye. So mimi the first person nilimpigia ni yeye ndo aniambie nini inaendelea. So mikupiga simu yake ilichukuliwa na dem fulani hapo wa klasi yetu. So yeye ndo akaniambia kuja hosi kuna kitu inaendelea. So mimi vile nilienda ndo nilipata imehappen.
The body of the deceased was transferred to Makindu Sub-County Hospital mortuary. And in Kiambu County, a wave of panic has gripped the Boma village in Kiawanda area after suspected arsonist torched a family home following 2 earlier failed attempts.
Hii ni mara ya 3 yenye wameweza kuvamia, lakini mara ya mwisho ndio wameweza kuchoma kila kitu. Mara ya kwanza waliweza kuvamia na wakaiba vitu mingi sana na wakaharibu vioo na kila kitu hapa. Lakini sasa kwa hii mara ya 3 ndio wameweza kuvamia na kuiba vitu na kuchoma pia.
Ndeya Sub-County Police Commander Roslyn Mnyolmo confirmed the incident, saying 1 suspect has been arrested as investigations to establish the motive behind the repeated attacks continue.
Hatuelewi mzozo inatoka kwa nani ama hii mambo inatoka wapi.
2 culprits have been arrested. The case is under investigation. Further report to follow.
And finally, detectives from the homicide unit have today released 10 bodies of the victims of the Shakahola massacre for burial in Western and Nyanza regions. Families who were present at the morgue confirmed the bodies that had been positively identified through DNA matching.
DNA imetoa miili miwili na hiyo tumeambiwa mpaka tuchukue hiyo kwanza na ile nyingine ikipatikana tutaitiwa tutaenda kuzika.
Authorities say the bodies included 1 from Likuyani, 2 from Malava, another 2 from Butere, 2 from Emuhaya and 1 from Kisii County.
Walipotea watoto 5 na yeye mwenyewe mtu wa 6. Lakini kwa saa hii tumepata mwili 4.
John Kahiro for Lunchtime News.
A family is demanding for justice after they were assaulted by the local chiefs on the burial of their loved one who was killed by bandits in Laikipia mid-last year. James Mogoi, the father of the deceased, noted the confrontation began when he differed with the administrations over the burial grounds for his late son, prompting attacks from the chiefs and members of the public. A medical examination report from Etago Sub-County Hospital indicates that Mogoi was assaulted, causing injuries to his left lower limb. A valuer, Duncan Njiri, also conducted a valuation which revealed that the property worth $326,400 was destroyed by members of the public after allegedly being incited by the chiefs.
Mimi nilikuwa kwa nyumba, nikaona watu wamekuja, wakaanza kupiga, 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 wakaanza
nikasikia kelele mingi, ilikuwa isio ya matanga, kelele kama ya kugombana. Alafu nikaondoka nje, nikapata ni watu ambao wanaendelea kupiga kelele ate hii shimo, huyu mzee ndiye anatakiwa achimbwe hiyo, awekwe hiyo shimo amechimba, anajichimbia shimo hapo. Mimi kumuuliza ate sasa chifu, hii ni nini unafanya? Yeye akanigonga teke hapa kwa bega, akanipiga teke mpaka akaniangusha chini. Naomba serikali itusaidie. Huyu vile nilipigwa, niko na P3 yangu ndio hii.
What we need is just justice. Familia yetu pia isaidike.
The High Court in Meru County has referred a class action petition by Mau Mau veterans to Chief Justice Martha Koome for formation of a 3-judge bench. The petition filed by 30 former freedom fighters accused the government of committing human rights violation against Mau Mau veterans after independence. The veterans, represented by lawyer Tom Masharia, are also pushing for the implementation of a 10 billion shilling restorative justice fund proposed by former President Uhuru Kenyatta in 2015, as well as a full enforcement of the Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Commission recommendations. Justice Heston Nyaga ruled that the case raises significant constitutional issues affecting thousands of freedom fighters and allowed the petitioners to advertise the suit in a national newspaper to invite more interested parties.
The government of Kenya, by the past regime, did indeed set aside 10 billion Kenyan shillings for reparations of all victims of human rights violations. And even though that fund was set aside, known as the Justice Restorative Fund, this fund is yet to reach thousands of persons who have been victims of these human rights violations.
Sisi wakombozi wa nchi hii hakuna kitu tuliona. Haya, tulikuwa wengi, watu walikufa wengine. Sasa sisi yetu ni kuomba. Tunaomba gendege, tunaomba mama yule karuawa kwa huko njuu. Atukumbuke sisi tumezeeka.
Tulikuwa tunapigania vitu viwili tu, uhuru na mashamba. Tukapata uhuru, lakini wale walitafuta mashamba hatukupata. Na ulishaji, na sisi tulipigania uhuru wa koloni, wale walipewa mashamba kama Sawandi wakaenda, tunapata nini?
Sasa tumesema wengi wao sahi wako na miaka karibu 90, hatungeweza kukubali wafunge macho kabla wamepata haki yao. Sisi kama shirika tuko hapo kama petitioners.
Now to a top story this afternoon, as the Kenya Certificate of Secondary School examinations continue. The Chief Executive Officer, Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, Charles Ogondam, has expressed concerns over reports of some candidates sneaking mobile phones into examination centers. He has urged examination supervisors to ensure that the examination supervisors, no authorized persons or materials are allowed in the examination centers.
2025 KCSE examinations continued on Tuesday, with the candidates sitting for the mathematics paper that started at 8 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. In Kakamega County, examination invigilators were urged to be alert and ensure that no unauthorized persons or materials make it to the examination rooms.
Whatever frisking you do, some people still sneak them in somehow, and that is not right to do. The second thing is to watch out for non-authorized personnel within the compound. When we see them, naturally, we are always suspicious about what they are doing in those schools. The third thing, of course, is to watch against collusion. And I normally tell the center managers and supervisors, you must be aware what the children have planned in advance.
In Kisii County, Kisii Central Deputy County Commissioner Joseph Mwangi urged the center managers to remain vigilant and ensure the exam's integrity is maintained throughout the exam period. He made the remarks after distributing KCSE exam papers at the county commissioner's offices in Kisii town.
We want to retain very high level of integrity for this exam. We don't want to get closed. We don't want them switching off CCTV. We'll be monitoring. Myself and my director here, we will be going round and we will be checking what is happening. We are really discouraging any fishy thing to happen in the school.
On Tuesday at 2 p.m. to 4:30 p.m., the candidates will be sitting for the English paper that will tackle comprehension, literary appreciation and grammar. Nancy Okware, Lunchtime News.
And in other news, the county government of Kirinyaga has repossessed over 800-acre piece of land valued at 1 billion shillings that had been grabbed by private developers. The prime land, scattered mainly in major towns across the county, was grabbed by well-connected individuals during the tenure of the defunct local authorities. The parcels of land were earmarked for hospitals, courts, police stations, markets, schools, irrigation dams, bus terminals and playfields, among other social amenities. Governor Anne Waiguru has warned that her administration will not spare anyone in their effort to recover all grabbed public land. Waiguru said land grabbing had deprived citizens of essential services and shared benefits. The Kirinyaga governor added that the public land in the county is allocated for future development projects like roads, affordable housing and public utilities.
Hii shamba mnaiona huku ilikuwa imenyakuliwa 250 acres of land. Nikaenda kotini, nikashinda, wakaenda court of appeal. Wakienda court of appeal nikatumaniwa delegation, sio moja, sio mbili, sio tatu. Akisema governor, sasa maneno yako, shida yako ni nini? Sisi ukiongea kama ni shamba unataka tutakupatia eka 10, eka 50, unyamazie. Mimi nikamwambia mimi sina haja na shamba. Hiyo shamba ni ya watu wa Kirinyaga. Na nataka irudishwe kwa watu wa Kirinyaga kwa sababu tuko na mpango ya kufanya maendeleo ya industry.
Now, elders, timber investors and community forest groups are up in arms over a new Kenya Forest Service tender allowing the sale and harvesting of 45,000 hectares of plantation forest in the South Rift and Western Kenya regions. They now threaten nationwide protests, accusing KFS of attempting a large-scale forest grab under the guise of a pulpwood sale. Speaking in Eldama Ravine after a day-long consultative meeting, Rift Valley Timber Investors Association Secretary Ronald Kipramoi accused KFS of acting in contempt of a 2023 court order that limits commercial harvesting to 5,000 hectares per year. Stakeholders claim the trees earmarked for cutting are 18 to 25 years old and mature for saw timber, yet are being auctioned under the lower value pulpwood category.
Na walifinywa wakati huo wote hawakuweza kupata miti. Na hawa wale wanataka kutunyang'anya tena ndio wamerudi watoto wao sasa kuja kutunyang'anya. Tunataka tuseme ya kwamba tuambie president mwenyewe atusaidie, tuhakikishe sisi investors wa forest tunalipa. Hata kama ni pesa ngapi huwa tunaenda tenda na tunalipa miti vile inatakikana.
The disposal of 45,000 hectares contravenes the court order which ordered for 5,000, and that is what we have been harvesting, 5,000 hectares within as directed by the court. Number two, currently speaking, there is no valid pulpwood licensee in Kenya, and it is on record there is no pulpwood licensee in Kenya. So why tender for a pulpwood tender?
Now, a section of Kibiko community land members in Ngong, Kajiado County have petitioned the government to halt an ongoing title deed processing exercise, citing alleged fraud, leadership wrangles and unresolved disputes over ownership. According to the residents, the escalating tensions and conflict between the genuine landowners and the alleged land grabbers have turned into a security threat in the area. The residents now want the Ministry of Lands investigated for involvement in the fraud scheme and illegal subdivision of the land.
Naomba serikali yetu kasi hiyo isimame kabisa mpaka uamuzi wa kotini itakapofanyika. Waliohusika kutoa matitle hili tunaomba wafanyiwe investigation.
Ekari 2,800 ndio tu tumepata, ikiwa mahali ambayo tunasalima, tunasapata chakula, tunasaidiana na kusomesha watoto kwa ajili sehemu zingine za nchi hailimiki.
More than 5,000 residents of Kiome Thana Ward in Mwingi West, Kitui County are set to benefit from the rehabilitation of a colonial earth dam that will enhance access to clean water. The Thokoa Earth Dam, which was last distilled 12 years ago, had become clogged, forcing locals to trek long distances in search of water.
Tunaamini ya kwamba the catchment area imekuwa kubwa, kwa hivyo hiyo inamaanisha kwamba itaweza kuchukua maji mingi.
Mwaka huu tumesumbuka sana na maji, ilikuwa imekauka na ilikuwa imejaa mchanga, na wakati huu tunaona rais wetu ametufanyia kazi mzuri, ametutolea mchanga yote yenye ilikuwa ndani, na hakika mvua ikinyesha tutasaidika sana.
Residents of Mavueni in Kilifi County are calling on the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission (IEBC) to take the voter registration to the grassroots. The locals who spoke when they received coconut palm seedlings say they cannot afford to travel to town centres to take part in the exercise in preparation for the 2027 general election. They are further calling for the issuance of identification cards to the youth in the area to enable them to access government opportunities.
Taimu hii tunataka watoto wapate kura, tena hata wengine hawana vitambulisho. Kwa hivyo mlete kura huku mashinani, tena mlete kura ina vitambulisho huku mashinani.
Wamama wengi wale wa mashinani kuenda paka Kilifi inakuwa kidogo ni ngumu kwa sababu ya transport.
Akina mama ambao mnajihusisha na biashara za minazi, wale ambao wanajihusisha na biashara mbalimbali, wasichana, wavulana, mutoke mukajiandikishe kura.
Members of a parliament caucus from Meru County have taken a swipe at a section of ODM leaders demanding to deputize President William Ruto in the 2027 general election. The lawmakers insist any plans to replace Kithure Kindiki as the running mate may jeopardize Ruto's re-election bid. Here are the details of what's unfolding in the political front.
Lawmakers from Meru County have criticized a section of ODM leaders who they say are demanding the position of deputy president in the 2027 elections, saying Kithure Kindiki remains the best choice for Ruto's running mate.
Wale wanapatiana conditions sawa, watuambie kwanza hii serikali waliunda namna gani? Hiyo vitisho tumezoea. This time around it is Professor Kithure Kindiki or Professor Kithure Kindiki.
Separately, political campaigns have intensified as the date to the November 27th by-election fast approaches. ODM luminaries are among the political players who have pitched tent in Magarini constituency to root for their candidate Harrison Kombe.
Mheshimiwa Ruto na hivi sasa ndiye rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya na yuko tayari na tayari yaniunga mkono katika msururu huu wa by-election.
ODM Chairperson Gladys Wanga, Kilifi Governor Gideon Mungaro, and Malindi MP Amina Mnyazi urged Magarini residents to back the ODM candidate, saying it would be a shame if their only rival, a DCP candidate, wins.
Si baba aliwapenda? Baba alikuwa mtetezi wa mnyonge. Nyinyi watu wa Magarini, out of 40,000 votes ambayo ilipigwa hapa, nyinyi mlimpigia baba 30,000. Asanteni sana kwa kumpigia baba kura 2022.
Kile chama cha ule jamaa alifukuzwa na Ruto, kile chama cha shareholders, chama ambao hakitambui Wakenya wengine bali watu wa mlima peke yake, washindwe hapa Magarini kwa jina la Yesu. Tunakubaliana?
These as members of the Migori County Bunge la Wananchi, led by Chairperson Charles Osewe, urged the ODM leadership to refrain from making premature political proclamations that could jeopardize unity within the broad-based government.
Safari yetu itaisha 2032 na William Samuel Ruto. Mambo ya ODM sijui 2027 tutafika hapo ndio tuone mambo ingine, hii hapana. Tumechoka na turudi tena kwa barabara.
In Malava, leaders allied to the broad-based government rallied support for the UDA Malava candidate David Ndakwa in the upcoming by-elections.
Vile Baba Raila Amolo Odinga alikuwa ametuelekeza ya kwamba tuwe kwa broad-based, na leo wana ODM wameamua ya kwamba Mheshimiwa David Ndakwa ndio atakuwa mbunge wetu.
Mnajua yule mpinzani yule alikuwa anapinga Malulu Injendi, yeye anatoka hapa. Si mnajua yeye alipinga Malulu akiwa uongozi. Itakuwa ni aibu watu ya Jimangetu mpigie huyo mtu kura.
In Kitui County, the clergy drawn from various parts of Mwingi urged the Kamba Nation to rally behind Kalonzo Musyoka.
Sisi kama wachungaji ambao Biblia inasema ya kwamba sisi ndio tuko na kifunguo ya kifalume. Tumesema ya kwamba kiongozi yeyote ambayo ako na dharau na jamii yetu, na sisi tutatumia hiyo kifunguo kumfungia.
We should have freedom of speech. Vile Mungu alitupatia midomo ya kuongea, tutaongea hivyo hivyo hadi mwisho. Na tutaki watu wanatufinyilia.
Giverson Maina, Lunchtime News.
And that report by Giverson Minor takes us to a first breather here on KBC's Lunchtime News. Don't go too far, we still have more for you, especially when it comes to business and sports.
We are looking at what happens to a woman in those critical months and weeks after delivery, why support is so crucial, and what ways can communities, families and health systems put together to work better with these new mothers.
It leaves a lot on her body that one needs to recover and go back to pre-pregnancy state, and that is a process that's physiological, that's mental, that's psychological.
My challenge and the biggest challenge of all is communication, because we don't have many healthcare providers who know sign language.
So we have a service on the mother side providing information and providing extra reminders and education, as well as referring them to care.
We need to be more keen on mothers when they come for clinics.
Treatment is not a one-off, and patients vary. Some may need care for a few weeks to months with supportive therapy.
President, Dr. Chung got shot. Huh? Never asked anyone to cut corners, and I never will.
Wipe his face! They're here!
Defibrillator, 200. Clear!
The world of governance is vast and can be alien to the ordinary man on the street.
critical issues are going to be discussed.
From white papers to policy positions, it is easier to get lost in the labyrinth of words.
Inside Government takes you to key global metropolis where critical decisions are made and where policies are crafted.
We interview policymakers and senior government officials to highlight and enumerate government policies and projects. We take a deep dive into the underbelly of complex red tape to demystify policies across the country, across the world. Join me, O'Brien Kimani, on Inside Government, only on KBC Channel 1.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now, the People's Liberation Party leader, that is Martha Karua, and former Kitui Governor Charity Ngilu joined the long list of dignitaries who visited Raila's Kango Kajaramogi home to lay a wreath on the former Prime Minister's grave. Accompanied by Raila's widow, Mama Ida Odinga, the two described the former Premier as a warrior of social justice who fought for equality for all and urged leaders across the political divide to honor his legacy by ensuring that they complete the journey towards the realization of full democratic ideals.
Here lies a great spirit. Here lies a warrior for social justice. A man with whom we fought in the trenches, fighting for a better Kenya. A man who dedicated his life for a better Kenya. And we must keep seeking for a better Kenya. That is the only way to honor him. Mama Ida, we will not abandon you just by coming once or twice. We shall walk with you the way we have walked with you before.
We see Raila Amolo Odinga leave this nation and leave us. I am still asking questions. Why now, this time? There is so much that we were still saying that you needed to do because of the things that he believed in, and so strongly indeed, that we needed to have a better Kenya than the Kenya we are having today. And that is what he lived for.
Parents have been assured of a timely hearing and judgment of child-related cases to lessen the emotional distress and rebuild confidence in the legal process. Speaking during the annual Child Justice Service Month 2025 at Karangatha Stadium in Kinangop, Nyandarua County, Engineer Law Court's senior principal magistrate, that is Harrison Andika, emphasized the need to move beyond rhetoric and translate commitments into tangible institutional actions, pledging that all children's testimonies will be heard within 2 weeks. The Kenya Judiciary designated November as a Children's Service Month to raise public awareness of children's rights and fast-track legal proceedings involving minors. That is a story that will come in just a few, but let's pick this story. State Department of Technical and Vocational Education and Training, Esther Moria, is calling for strengthening the competence-based education. Moria, who spoke during a 2-day conference at the Kiambu National Polytechnic, where the Kenya Association of Technical Training Institutions held a forum, said there is need for curriculum reforms to improve the sector. The conference brought together education stakeholders to discuss reforms geared towards improving the competence-based education sector.
If there is any concern that the top government has in this country is for the youth and for them to have a skill. And the person standing between that skill and the youth is me and you.
Now, Kenya has taken a major step in strengthening youth empowerment and innovation with the launch of a new youth leadership and innovation hub in Nairobi. The center, fully funded by the Azerbaijan International Development Agency, aims to equip young people with leadership skills, entrepreneurship, support and innovation training to help them drive sustainable development in the country. Speaking during the launch at KBC, Kenya's youth champion Charlene Ruto said the hub will nurture youth talent, promote entrepreneurship and help young people build successful careers, noting that investing in youth is a key to securing Kenya's future as a global innovation leader.
I envision for this leadership center is a mentorship conversation and a reverse mentorship conversation, which is so important for our nation. We've sat with the older generation, we've sat as young people, we've listened, we've given our opinions, and I envision more and more of that happening in this leadership and innovation hub.
This project perfectly aligns with the mission and vision of the AIDA, because what we are trying to do actually is to implement different type of humanitarian and at the same time development assistance projects in different parts of the world.
But this is an excellent chance for us, very valuable one, to join efforts, to empower youth, to learn something at the same time in terms of very interesting and innovative approaches, because we believe in partnership, we believe in cooperation, and we believe in the power of the young generation.
The initiative is great and everyone should need to support it, because the impact it's going to have the country is huge. Everyone should need to come on board and support the initiative. And therefore, once we support, we're able to get that, to nurture that particular potential in them.
Now back to that story I was telling you about. Parents have been assured of a timely hearing and judgment of child-related cases to lessen the emotional distress and rebuild confidence in the legal process. Speaking during the annual Child Justice Service Month 2025 at Karangatha Stadium in Kinangop, Nyandarua County, Engineer Law Court Senior Principal, that is Magistrate Harrison Andika, emphasized the need to move beyond rhetoric and translate commitments to tangible institutional actions, pledging that all children's testimonies will be heard within 2 weeks.
Nataka kuwasihi leo, mtoto akifunja sheria, usiseme wewe mtoto wa serikali. Kwa nini? Serikali ukipatia mtoto serikali ipembelezi, itamtoa kwako, itampeleka mahali pengine. Huyo mtoto akirudi hapo, maybe baada ya mwaka mmoja, utakuwa unamjua? Hautakuwa unamjua. Ndio naonanga ripoti yoyote, tunakuja huku kwa mashinani, ndio tuweze kufanya reconciliation na victim, na tuhakikisha ya kwamba huyu mtoto hajapoteza nafasi ya kwenda shule.
Kisii Central Deputy County Commissioner Joseph Mwangi has called on parents to prioritize their children's well-being and protect them against drug abuse and other vices during the long holiday season. Mwangi noted that lack of parental guidance, especially for students who have completed their Kenya Junior School Education Assessment, exposes them to negative peer influence and other hazardous activities that could lead to school dropouts. He further urged the learners to use the holiday period wisely by engaging in constructive activities and staying disciplined so that they can resume studies smoothly when schools reopen in January.
I'm urging parents to just develop a keen interest in what the children will be doing. This time is too long and there are so many things that might happen in between, and especially on a drug consumption, that is smoking of bangi, consumption of illicit brews. I would wish parents to take a keen interest. These children, we need them in January in senior school. We don't want them to get lost in between.
Now, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission EACC is planning town halls with Kwale residents in a bid to sensitize the locals on how to deal with corruption and corrupt individuals. The Commission's representative, who paid a courtesy call on the county said the sensitization will target youth in entrepreneurial ventures and public servants. According to the report by the Commission, land grabbing and embezzlement of public funds are on the rise in the coastal region.
We've not only profiled Kwale, we move round to all other counties as a quest for good governance.
Tunapohamasisha wafanyikazi wa serikali, utapata ya kwamba hata jamii imehamasishwa. Na pia hii mambo kidogo kidogo, nilienda nikaitishwa shilingi 50, nilienda nikaitishwa shilingi 20, pia itaisha.
There's a lot of investigations that we are carrying out. We have several matters that are pending before court, some that are under active investigations in all these 3 counties. I don't want to categorize in terms of which one is more rampant than the other, but that is where we are.
A malaria epidemic early warning prediction report for the Western Highlands of Kenya shows that there is a high risk of malaria epidemic in Kakamega in November and December 2025. The report that covered Kakamega, Kisii and Nandi counties places the epidemic threshold level in Kakamega at 30%. The analysis, based on observed climate data and model simulations that estimate the percentage risk of malaria transmission, also shows that Kisii and Nandi present no risk for the same period. The malaria epidemic threshold level in Kisii and Nandi has been placed at 20% respectively. The report shows made public by the Kenya Meteorological Department reflects data and predictions as of August 2025. And now here's the latest in business. Over-reliance of donor funding to power Kenya's energy transition has been identified as one contributor of a debt burden in the country. Christian Aid's energy transition advisor Jacqueline Kimeu says the shift is crucial if Africa is to achieve universal electricity access without falling into deeper debt.
Kenya's pursuit of clean, affordable energy continues to attract billions in international financing, but questions are now being raised over the sustainability of this debt-driven model. This, coupled with the country's increasing fiscal pressures, has put significant strain on the national budget, forcing reallocations to other critical sectors. To avert this, stakeholders are calling for 50% linkage between mini-grids and main power sources to help accelerate energy access, adding that the existing monopoly of power connections had locked millions from power.
We cannot accelerate, we cannot close the energy gap for the 600 million people without access to energy, and also the 900 million people without access to electricity when we deliver this through loans and other harming financing mechanism.
We talk with energy producers, the ministry, the parastatals that are dealing with that, and find out how is climate affecting you and how can you safeguard your infrastructure so that we can talk about sustainable energy. Because we are not only talking about energy access, but we are talking about even sustainability.
At the same time, representatives of persons living with disabilities called for their inclusion in all energy access policies, saying the Mission 300 program must ensure equitable benefits for marginalized groups. As Kenya accelerates its cleaner energy ambitions, stakeholders insist that the journey to a greener future must not only be financially sustainable, but also socially inclusive.
You are aware that we have the Mission 300 of energy combat. Our issues on that document is that we are asking how many, because they have a target, how many they are targeting to reach for persons with disabilities.
I do believe when removal of these barriers, that also persons with disability can also be able to participate and also access when it comes maybe with issues of energy, and not only in energy but also in other spheres in life.
Ndota Mokami, For Lunchtime News.
Now, the government will settle all outstanding payments owed to workers in public sugar factories. Agriculture and Livestock Development Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe says the government will clear all pending dues owed to workers in public sugar factories, a move analysts see as part of a wider effort to rebuild confidence in Kenya's agricultural sector and prove that economic reforms can coexist with physical discipline.
During a consultative meeting with the Kenya Union of Sugar Plantation and Allied Workers, the Kenya Sugar Board and management of the 4 leased sugar mills, Kagwe said settling workers' arrears remains a government priority even as the Treasury operates under tight fiscal constraints.
Investments that the licensed organizations promised to make, a total of about 12 billion, investments, money, in terms of investments, was promised by the people we licensed these sugar mills.
Kagwe's remarks come as the government implements a sweeping restructuring of the sugar industry through leasing public mills to private investors. The CS revealed that payments to sugarcane farmers have already begun, adding that most workers from the state-owned factories will be re-employed by the private investors, while others will exit through retirement packages.
Of licensing was to create vibrancy. And for it to open, employ people, buy sugar, farmers benefit. That is the whole idea. So one is that those factories that have not opened yet, all right, should open.
He said this transition aims to stabilize employment while reducing the financial burden on the public purse. Industry players say the changes combined with fiscal honesty, private capital and stronger regulation could finally set the sugar industry on a path to sustainability.
University students have been urged to use the knowledge acquired to innovate solutions to common societal problems. Speaking during the Young Entrepreneurs Business Summit, Masinde Muliro University of Science and Technology Vice Chancellor Professor Solomon Shibairo says the students should take advantage of initiatives that connect innovators with funders and industry experts to scale their innovations. The summit saw more than 100 students from 13 universities benefit from a 1 million shilling investment launched.
A well-educated, wise man who is very poor is a danger to the society.
27,000 plus are now, I can say, if they're not doing business, they are definitely idle. And if they are going to be useful in this business under Dr. Fred Akama, we are going to be productive in the society, and it will lead on a productive end whereby we are not being used in drugs and misuse of ourselves around the community, and that one will improve the value that students have in the community.
The government plans to overhaul Kenya's quality control framework, imposing hefty fines and lengthy jail terms for anyone selling substandard or fake goods. The government says that the proposed Standards Bill 2025 seeks to protect consumers and boost industrial competitiveness while making the country an industrial base. The Kenya Bureau of Standards KEBS is currently holding public participation forums to gather views on the proposed National Bureau of Standards Bill. Industrialization Secretary Erastus Kateve also proposed legislation aims to modernize Kenya's standards framework and align it with the provisions of the 2010 Constitution. Speaking in Uasin Gishu County, business leaders have emphasized the importance of stakeholder involvement in nationwide exercise, noting that the bill aims to strengthen consumer protection.
It is a requirement of the Constitution that we seek the input of our stakeholders. Our stakeholders include consumers, it includes manufacturers, it includes even the retailers.
So in matters of trade, industry and investment, this bill is going to jumpstart the better agenda. It's also going to help us to achieve our mandate as a ministry in terms of opening up our product to the external market. And one way is to have the standard bill aligned to the expectation of the export market.
Underwriters in the agriculture sector want the government to subsidize some insurance products under the agriculture portfolio. The African Reassurance Corporation Regional Deputy Director Isaac Mangina says that the tax incentive on agriculture insurance products will increase insurance penetration and further de-risk agriculture, which in the long run will reduce the country's food import bill.
The concept about insurance is not well understood, and so because of that you need a lot of investment, particularly on product awareness and sensitization. You also need knowledge, investment in the product design, because you're talking about new insurance solution like parametric insurance. Agriculture insurance is one of the areas that needs to be subsidized by government, because it really lends into protecting the agriculture sector and thus contributing to the food security situation, stabilizing the overall economic outlook of.
Now, across the border, Starbucks says it is selling a 60% stake in its business in China as part of a $4 billion deal with investment firm Boyu Capital. Under the agreement, the world's biggest coffee chain will have a 40% stake in the Chinese retail operation and retain ownership of the Starbucks brand there. Starbucks entered China in 1999, and the country is now its second largest market outside the US, but has struggled in recent years with the rise of homegrown brands like Lunkin Coffee. This plus more is in our international business roundup.
Partnership with Boyu is a significant milestone and signaled its plans for long-term growth in China. Starbucks said as it put a $13 billion valuation on its retail operation in China. The business will continue to be headquartered in Shanghai and will own and operate 8,000 outlets in the Chinese market, with plans to grow to as many as 20,000 locations, the firm said on Monday. The collaboration, combining Starbucks' globally recognized brand, coffee expertise, and partner-centered culture with Boyu's depth of understanding of Chinese consumers, it added. Starbucks said it plans to introduce new drinks and digital platform in China, adding that the deal will be finalized next year. Elsewhere, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, and its allies known as OPEC Plus, on Sunday decided to raise oil output by 137,000 barrels per day in December. The decision was announced following a virtual meeting of member countries, including Saudi Arabia, Russia, Iraq, and the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Kazakhstan, Algeria, and Oman, to review global market conditions and the economic outlook, OPEC said in a statement. Finally, China's robotic industry recorded a 2.95% year-on-year increase in revenue in the first 3 quarters of this year, driven by manufacturing upgrades and technological advancements, according to the China's Machinery Industry Federation on Monday. A total of 595,000 units of industrial robots were installed and 13.5 million sets of service robots were produced in the January-September period, both exceeding last year's total.
And now finally, the latest in sports. Sunderland moved up to 4th place in the English Premier League table after they came from a goal down to draw 1-1 with Everton yesterday night at the Stadium of Light. Everton started brightly and led through Ndiaye's fine solo goal in the 15th minute, but was later cancelled out by Granit Xhaka, who scored his first Sunderland goal with a deflected strike early in the second half. In Italian Serie A, Lazio scored a goal in added time to comfortably beat Cagliari 2-0, while Genoa also scored in added minutes to register a narrow 2-1 victory over Sassuolo. Meanwhile, Real Oviedo and Osasuna played to a goalless draw in the Spanish La Liga match at the Estadio Municipal Carlos last night.
Lorient with the ball in. And what a chance for that man Berardi. Martin's ball in is really dangerous, and Ustigar has surely won it.
And now this evening in Europe, the UEFA Champions League enters March at day 4 tonight with 9 matches on the card. Defending champion Paris Saint-Germain will face Bayern Munich, while English Premier League reigning champions Liverpool host Real Madrid at Anfield.
Liverpool will face Spanish giants Real Madrid in a match that sees the return of Trent Alexander-Arnold to Liverpool since he left at the end of the season. Since the start of the 2017-2018 season, with the Spanish side winning 5 of the previous 7.
In those hands does the Irishman.
Against a fierce rival in German giants Bayern Munich. In other matches, as with Sporting, Olympiacos will play against PSV Eindhoven, while Tottenham Hotspurs
Want to enjoy free-to-air digital TV with crystal clear quality? Here's how to get started with Signet. Step 1. If you have a smart TV, you're good to go. Next, connect the aerial to your TV. Now, do an auto search on your TV. Just follow the prompts on the screen. And that's it. You're now tuned in to Signet. Sit back and enjoy a wide range of free-to-air digital channels. For technical inquiries, call the Signet hotline on 0770 572 656.
It's art, it's culture, it's fun, it's attitude.
As you can see with me, I have this handkerchief. And is it really a handkerchief or is it?
My name is Kevin Kasioki. Please join me each and every Friday at 8 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1.
Ukumbuke mama, sikuwa hivyo mwanzo. Dunia kigeugeu, leo hivi kesho vile mama. Halo, tazama Grapevine KBC Channel 1.
You know what time it is. It is time for you to get your dose of entertainment news. To be specific, Matters Events. How are you?
That's what's up. Welcome to the biggest, the baddest entertainment show right here in the 254, man. Miss V, it's a brand new month.
Yes.
November it is. And by the way, kuna kuanga na hashtag mingi sana about November.
Yeah.
Kuna kuanga na, you know, is it Black November? Alafu kuna kuona No Shave November.
Yes, No Shave November. So by the end of November, we should be seeing a whole bush.
That's what's up, yeah? Ngoja vitu jayo.
Tungoje?
Yeah.
All right, and right about now, we will be getting into what you will be expecting to see right here on the show today. We have a really, really packed up show for you. A lot has been happening, Matters Events. Alafu tuko na interview moja kubwa. Yes.
You know it, eh?
Yes. Let's get this show on the road. My name is Vivian Dago. You can simply just call me Miss V.
Jack Muller, the party daddy, or you can call me Papi.
And you know what this right here is?
Grapevine.
What you gotta do.
All right, we're kicking off the show right here at the Village Market Ballpoint Social Club, to be specific. And guess what? The legends are back, man. Get ready as the iconic Les Wanyika take us back to Rumba, a night where timeless melody meets the new energy